It was raining heavily that night. The streets were empty, the lamps flickering, and thunder echoed through the sky like the heavens were mourning. Amid the cold and chaos, a frail little girl stood at the gates of a grand mansion, shivering, soaked, and crying. Her trembling voice barely rose above the storm as she knocked on the heavy iron gate. "Please, someone help me," she sobbed. "I only have 3 days to live." Inside, the mansion was dark and silent, the kind of silence that money can't fill. The owner, Mr. Adrian Cole, a billionaire known for his empire of luxury hotels, had just returned from a long overseas trip. He was tired, restless, and broken from the inside. Despite his wealth, he had lost the one thing that gave his life meaning, his wife, Alina. She had passed away 2 years ago, and since then, Adrian had become a ghost living in a house of gold. But that night, fate had something different written. When he heard the faint knock through the storm, he almost ignored it. But something, a whisper of intuition, maybe Alina's spirit, told him to look. As he opened the door, his eyes fell on the tiny girl standing under the flickering light. She looked no more than 8. Her dress was torn, her face pale, her lips trembling. Yet there was a strange purity in her eyes, something that pierced through Adrian's cold heart. "Please, sir," she cried, "I don't want to die, not yet." Adrian froze. "What did you just say?" he asked, lowering himself to her level. I only have 3 days to live," she whispered. "That's what the doctor said. Mama can't afford the medicine. She told me to pray." The story unfolds. Adrian didn't know what to say. He had spent millions on empty luxuries, yet this little soul before him needed only a fraction of what he wasted daily, and it could mean life or death. Without hesitation, he took her inside, wrapping her in a warm blanket. "What's your name, sweetheart?" he asked softly. "Leela," she said between sobs. "My mom said angels will hear me if I keep praying, but I think, maybe I did something wrong. Maybe God stopped listening." Adrian's chest tightened. For the first time in years, he felt his heart ache, not from loneliness but from compassion. He called his driver, told him to locate the girl's mother, and prepared to take Leela to the best hospital in the city. At the hospital, doctors rushed to attend her. She was suffering from a rare heart condition, one that could be treated, but the cost was enormous. Her mother, a simple cleaner named Maria, arrived soon after, her eyes swollen from crying. When she saw her daughter in Adrian's arms, she fell to her knees. "Sir, please, we'll find a way to pay you back, I swear," she pleaded. Adrian shook his head gently. "You don't owe me anything. Let's just get her the help she needs." The challenge. But saving Leela wasn't that simple. The surgery required a rare donor and time was running out. Each day brought new challenges. Her condition worsened. The hospital struggled to find a compatible match, and Maria lost hope. One night, as Adrian sat by Leela's bedside, she looked up at him and whispered, "You're sad too, aren't you?" He smiled faintly. "What makes you think that?" "Because your eyes look like my mama's when she cries at night." That single sentence shattered Adrian's emotional walls. For the first time, he opened up. He told Leela about Alina, about how he had lost his will to live after her death. Leela listened carefully, then placed her tiny hand over his. "Maybe God sent me to tell you something," she said. "Don't stop living. Someone still needs you." Tears rolled down his cheeks. That night, Adrian prayed, something he hadn't done in years. The turning point. The next morning brought a miracle. A donor had been found, but there was another twist. The surgery was extremely risky, and even with the best doctors, success wasn't guaranteed. Maria broke down, terrified of losing her daughter. Adrian stood by her side, promising, "She will live. I'll make sure of it." Hours turned into an eternity as the surgery took place. Adrian sat outside the operating room, staring at the door, his heart racing with every passing second. Then, the light above the door went off. The doctor stepped out, exhausted but smiling. "She's safe. The surgery was successful." Adrian felt his knees weaken. For the first time in years, he thanked God not for wealth or success, but for life. The healing. Weeks passed. Leela slowly regained her strength. The once weak and hopeless little girl now laughed, played, and called Adrian uncle. He often visited her and Maria, bringing food, gifts, and smiles. But what truly changed him was Leela's spirit. Despite all her pain, she never stopped believing in kindness and miracles. One day, as they sat in the hospital garden, she said, "Uncle, you saved me, but maybe I saved you too." Adrian smiled, tears glistening in his eyes. "Yes, you did, Leela. You reminded me what it means to live." The resolution. When Leela was finally discharged, Adrian offered Maria a new home and a job at his company. He even started a charity foundation, Leela's Hope, to help children battling critical illnesses. The mansion that once echoed with emptiness now rang with laughter and love. Adrian had found family again, not by blood, but by heart. And every year on the anniversary of her surgery, Leela and Adrian would light a candle and say a prayer, one for Elena, and one for every child still waiting for a miracle. The message. The story of Adrian and Leela teaches one powerful truth. No act of kindness is ever wasted. You never know whose life you might change, or who might end up changing yours. So if this story touched your heart, let it remind you that even the smallest light can chase away the deepest darkness.